I'm your host, T. Mitchell Bell, and we have here in the studio on Acoustic Songs Live, Adrian Hardkor. And I know that's not your real name, but you can tell me the whole thing. I would never try to pronounce it, but I guess that's why I shortened it, right?
That is exactly what I shortened.
Yeah. And Alyssa. I want to say Elise. See, I told you, I got to completely...
We're going to drill it in by the end of the hour.
Alyssa. What's your last name, Alyssa?
Taylor.
Alyssa Taylor. Well, thank you guys for coming in, especially on short notice because we had somebody cancel from New York. And
yeah. Thanks, Mitchell.
Joy, Ike, our good friend, recommended you guys. And
connections in the music industry.
Yeah, it's a small world, isn't it? You know, we all kind of touch each other. You know, we were just talking a little bit about that. Hey, but what we normally do is have folks like dig right in, right off the top, and play something for us. So, what are you gonna do for us?
We've been playing a lot of new songs as of late. So this is gonna be a new song. It's not on a record yet, but hopefully it will be soon. It's called Hope.
Okay, this is Adrian Hardkor and Alyssa Taylor. On Acoustic Songs Live from WNJR at 91.7 FM.
Our clock sounds 7 a.m. Tuesday morning, the sunlight finds her through her bedroom blinds. And she wakes up, takes a glimpse in the mirror, brushes her hair, misses the bus, fights to chase it down. It's my sweet, sweet island. It's not like you, least sweet darling. It's panic on Main Street through the shovel, the rude feet, and the snow and the sleet. When she finally gets there, her pink lips deflating, waiting it takes to take the high street. It's the mess of a century, cause nothing stops, nothing, nothing stops free. This is not what she needs. Now she's calling her sister and Rome to pay the water and the heat. It's not you, it's me, sweet darling. It's not like you, least sweet darling. I still have this hope for us now. We're not over yet. I still have this hope for us now. Nothing's done or said. Rain will fall and cities will crawl. An ego will get scraped off the kitchen floor. Well, I wait for you, so black and blue. Nothing to live for, nothing to die for. Nothing to live for, nothing to die for. Well, our clock sounds 7 a.m. Wednesday morning, the sunlight finds her through her bedroom blind. Now still love is all for us now. Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks.
I missed the last. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking over your bio and
Yeah.
reading, some of the stuff here, and I see the comparisons. Folks have said Daniel Johnston, Vic Chestnut, and I'm kind of picking up on that. There was a documentary made about him, right? Is it
Daniel Chestnut? Yeah.
No, Daniel Johnston.
Daniel Johnston, yeah. Was it Daniel Johnston that just passed away recently?
Vic Chestnut.
Vic Chestnut passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't. That was a funny thing, and I'm really glad I added that to my bio. That was an interview in DC, a blog called Metro Music Scene, I think was the name of the blog. A friend of mine did an interview, and out of the interview came that those two names started popping up, and it was funny. When the interview happened, I didn't know either name. I didn't know.
It's pretty. I mean, pretty obscure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought,
and that's why I brought it up because a lot of people haven't heard. I heard Vic Chestnut. I think it was Terry Gross interviewed. I did an interview on Fresh Air, and I heard the whole story and everything. And apparently, he was like hit in a car accident or something, and was crippled or something like that. And he played in a wheelchair or something.
He still played. I think I saw video after that interview. I started looking
around,
obviously looking them all up, and yeah, he was. There were a couple of YouTubes of him on stage in a wheelchair, still playing guitar, and still rocking it pretty hard. He was still kicking.
And Daniel Johnston, if I remember, I think there was a movie made about him, The Devil and Daniel Johnston. Was he like an alt punk guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he came out of the early '80s, just a solo acoustic alt punk stuff, and then he flipped out or something and had medication issues. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That was kind of the other thing. I was like two guys with some issues. It reminds me. Okay, I'll take it, man. It's great.
But it's in terms of the sound. I see what they're saying, but I those are really obscure references. I rented that on Netflix once. This is I thought it was a movie about the blues, and I never. But he was on MTV.
Yeah.
Daniel Johnston.
He made it, right, as they say. He did well for himself.
Alt punk, I think Austin, Texas is what. Is
that where he's?
Yeah, it was this alt country punk thing going on. Just acoustic guitar, and he just he made up tapes, cassette tapes. And he sent in these cassette tapes, and he sent it to MTV, and next thing you know, he's playing on MTV from this cassette. It's a really
DIY before DIY.
Oh, I mean, really DIY. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's really neat. As far as, but I hear it. So you're from the by way of Wisconsin or Minnesota, Michigan?
Both, all three.
Yeah.
When people ask where I'm from, it's usually a 10-minute conversation. I grew up in Wisconsin, but I was born in Detroit, and I lived in Minnesota for a while before moving to DC. So I've been in DC for 5-6 years now. But I wasn't even much of a musician before I moved to DC. It really took off once I moved to the East Coast. So.
Yeah, I saw you were a telecommunications guy.
I'm a nerd.
I was from that background too.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a whole nother.
Yeah, we could
really go on. Is that a 2-hour?
Yeah, we start TDMA or CDMA.
Yeah. Boy, here we go. That's funny.
And your violin player.
Violin player Alyssa Taylor. We picked her up from an instrumental band out of DC, Star of K-Radium.
I'm still with them.
You're still with them.
I'm on loan. I'm on loan for the trip.
Yeah, she's on loan. Yeah, they're DC-based instrumental
Yeah, we've been
band. Go
around
ahead.
since about June of 2008. Acoustic guitar, classical violin, and drums. So, Star of K-Radium.
And you grew up in that area?
I grew up in Fairfax. I actually went to school around here. I went to Carnegie Mellon up in Pittsburgh, and then I went back to DC.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I spent some time living down there. And I bailed early '90s because the traffic was getting bad enough.
Oh, it's not gotten any better.
No, I know.
You did the right thing.
I lived Round Hill, Percival area. And
oh yeah.
I came down 7.
Way out.
I played a gig down there, and wow, I mean, everything's moved out past Leesburg. It's-
Leesburg is the suburbs of DC now.
Yeah, that used to be... no, it
Country.
wasn't.
Country, yeah, it probably used to be farmland, I'm sure.
It used to be, the edge was, what's that big development?
Ashburn?
Yes, that was the edge.
Ashburn is now, Ashburn is definitely
It's in
DC
it.
now. I mean, there's no barrier or divider between DC. I mean, it's just urban sprawl from I mean, it's from Tyson's now all the way to Ashburn is
Yeah,
minivans.
well, that's where I used to work up at Tyson's Corner where
Yeah.
our lab was, and
Yeah.
that was like, you know, there was the Beltway,
Oh yeah,
and it was pretty much just beyond the Beltway, you know.
Mhm.
not
Now,
anymore. Not anymore.
I'm just amazed.
Beltway's in the thick
Well,
of it.
DC. I mean, now. I mean, not to get too far off subject.
Yeah. Oh,
Now it's the
Yeah, you're
the
pleased.
belt the sprawl really never stops. Now you go north to Baltimore and it's just all one big.
oh, one big thing.
It's all one big thing now. You can't really tell where DC and Baltimore, you know, where the suburbs of each stop and the other one begins.
If it makes it to Front Royal, then man, that's
Then
it.
we're all in trouble.
Then we're all in trouble.
Then we move to the Midwest.
Then we move back to Wisconsin.
Right away.
Yeah, exactly. Then I need my cabin in the woods again.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, hey, I'd like to hear some. You know, you got something else lined up?
Sure,
You would like,
yeah.
and tell people your CD is the latest one you have out.
Yeah, we have 2 CDs that's going in rotation now. It looks like here at WNJR, but
Oh, yeah. Road to
yeah,
the Left.
Road to the Left is a 7-song EP that we released late last year. So we're still touring on that record, and this next song I think we're gonna play is on that record. It's called Catch Up. It's a full band. My band's based out of DC. Sometimes they go on the road with me. Most times they don't. I can't really afford them
I hear it.
to go on the road. But
In case you just joined us, you're listening to Acoustic Songs Live, and we're broadcasting here from WNJR Studios at 91.7 FM in Washington, PA. And we have in this studio Adrian Hardkor, and he's going to play some tunes for us. And you can also listen to us streaming at WNJR.org over the internet, and go to acousticsongs.com, and all the links are there. Then again, Adrian's going to play a tune for us off of his last CD.
right,
Okay.
sounds great. Yeah, this is Catch Up.
Cool.
All right. When you laugh, when I cry, oh, you help me find my insides. Your sweet smile, I know, came to mind. Just don't go till tell me no magical storyline, but in the cold, your sweet arms warm my soul. I believe in the afterlife. I believe you're free. One thing left, I'll admit, never as good as when you're there. Just stay up, stay close. Hey, honey, house light, stop the fight. Finally get telling me did it right, and I think I miss most. You and I found our pride. Just don't go tell a lie. Stay me on stage, listen on 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and I'll be fine. I'll be fine. still alive. I believe you're free. One thing left, not letting it. I'm never as good as when you're there. Stay up, stay close.
That's a Big Sky song.
A Big Sky song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're driving in that
Yeah.
Big Sky country, that's
Yeah.
what I like to refer to it as. You're driving along and you got that music on the radio, and you just put something like that in the CD, you know?
And you just see the sun. Yeah, you see the sun. Here's the sunbeams, and there's just the mountains and the
Big Sky, yeah.
Happy Sunday afternoon.
You're out in Minnesota, South Dakota somewhere, or you're
Yeah.
driving through Wyoming.
Yeah,
Totally.
we played the same open mic together for about 5 years, and I remember the day I saw Adrian sitting out in the parking lot beforehand scribbling.
Yeah.
And he came in and he was like, "Here's my new song," and we were all, "Wow."
Yeah, I read
That's
it like 10 minutes
amazing.
before an open
Yeah.
mic on the
I
afternoon.
Came
I love
together
that
like that.
song.
It was great.
Yeah, that's
Thanks.
I'm still trying. I'm sorting out, you know, my my digital music brain. No, right? trying to put a, you know, there's something really familiar but not familiar, and that's good. I mean, it's like, you know, when you hear somebody and you go like, they sound like somebody, but they sound like themselves. So that's the cool part.
That's the
yeah.
hope. That's what you
yeah.
want to do.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
wanna
You hear somebody like,
sound
oh, he
familiar
sounds
enough.
just like Bruce Springsteen. You know, but,
Hey, I'll take that too.
There are worse things in this world.
Yeah. So, when did the songwriting bug? You said you kind of got into this recently. I mean, come on, you had to be doing like.
I've been doing music for a long time.
Oh, okay.
A long time. Yeah, this is like my fifth or sixth instrument now. I kind of grew up like doing classical piano, like most musicians I think do. And then I was a drummer in high school with long hair. Yeah, I know.
That's funny.
There's many generations of Adrian. But yeah, the songwriter bug kind of changes the entire game, you know? When you start applying your knowledge of an instrument towards a creative process, it's like, and really changes everything. I kind of remember when I started writing, I was like, okay, now I'm never putting the guitar down, ever. And I'm just going to keep doing this because there's no end to how good you can get and how involved you can be.
And when you like, it's hard to write a good song.
Turns out it's not easy.
It's hard to write a good song.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of songs that are okay. It's subjective, you know.
It is.
But like we were talking about playing at the Bluebird, and when people
Yeah.
are sitting there
Oh,
listening, you know,
Yeah.
and they're there for the song, the words.
They're there for the song.
Yeah.
They're there for the song. Performance in that town is great. Nashville loves performing artists, but that's a writer's town.
Yeah.
You know, almost everybody's a writer in that town, so they can really appreciate the craft
Mm-hmm.
of a song.
And that's kind of a unique thing because you're crafting a 3, 4, 5 minute little piece of art that exists as this thing that you hear for a short period of time. And what is it that, you know, other than, okay, obviously people can write stuff that make you jump up and move and all that
Oh
kind
yeah,
of stuff.
hey Mikey, you're so fun.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
I don't know how much I like that. Yeah.
Anyway, what was it?
I don't know how much I like that song.
But you
Well-
can't just decide to write a good song.
Yeah, you can't wake up and say I'm gonna write a killer tune today. You know, you can't just say I'm gonna wake up and write.
Yeah.
You know,
You
imagine.
Yeah, you
So,
can't paint. You can't.
Maybe
It's like
John did actually. Who knows, but
We'll never know.
yeah, or paint. I'm gonna paint a great painting today. Yeah, I mean, it really isn't that the thing. You really just have to, you know.
it's a
because-
process.
You
It's
just
a
show up for
craft.
the job.
It's yeah, you gotta show up for the job.
And there are people who, you know, you write these books about, well, there's the AABA format and all these different things, the structure and so forth, that everything you follow. And I've never been able to read one of those, like make it through it.
Great, then you're amongst friends. I mean, I don't know theory, and I proudly say that. I don't really know theory the way that
Music theory, or just
Yeah,
like the
I mean,
songwriting theory, like the
I
structure
don't really
itself?
understand songwriting theory. If I try to write it down and try to understand the mathematics of a song, I would rather not, actually. I would rather just play by ear and what sounds like it should be,
Yeah.
you know,
Where it should go.
that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I you know, Ryan Bigham is.
Oh, yeah. We were
like,
listening to him on the way, in the car on the way here.
I'm kind of like picking up a little bit of that kind of feel, you know, that some of that, and that alt Americana, you know, kind of feel, that alt country
Oh, yeah, the
thing.
Ray LaMontagne,
Yeah.
you know, Devils in the Jukebox and all that.
Oh, we were talking about about that.
There's some
before the
great
show.
music in that genre coming around the corner right now. There's just Americana music is really kicking.
I hope it doesn't get like, you know, like the next big pop thing, because then it'll kind of ruin it.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, the bands like the Avett Brothers, and when you see Mumford & Sons and the Avett Brothers and Bob Dylan on the Grammys, then you're kind of like,
All right.
okay.
Well,
Where we're at.
that genre has become popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see what, you know, hopefully it's not too much of a fad, because I really like this type of music, you know, and hopefully it's not like, okay, well, we're done with this kind of music, now let's go back to synthesizer rock or
Well, I
something.
think that can happen on the mainstream level, but I think, you know, it becomes more and more popular, and, you know, eventually that'll burst and the real participants stick around, you know. I mean, you can't just say, well, I'm going to do something different now.
Yeah.
That's really
Well, Dylan's
true.
always going to do what Dylan does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 I mean, if you're really
Nobody's
writing to
changing
your
that
own
anymore.
voice.
Yeah. I had some friends that said, you know, he needs to get like cashed in and stop playing. And,
Yeah.
and we got into a really bad Facebook flame there. I was like, what are you talking about? You know, I mean, he will, I don't care. He could just get up there and mumble and it'll be fine with me.
That's kind of what
Just-
it does, right?
Yeah.
Last time I checked.
The funny part is there are people who like him and people who just hate him. And you either like him or you don't.
It's too much to handle. It's too much character to handle in one sitting, because he's always had his thing.
Yeah, it's the history.
He's never
of,
been anything
Love it or
but
hate it.
Bob
Yep.
Dylan.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, hey, I would like to hear more of Adrian instead of Bob, you know, today.
Sure. Yeah.
And see what you got for us. In case you just joined us, you're listening to Acoustic Songs Live, and we have Adrian Hardkor, and that is your stage name, though.
That's my stage name. Yeah.
Tell me your real
With a
name.
K and without an E.
Yeah.
Hardkor.
Hardkor. Yeah. Of course. Now I have to change the naming up, which now makes me kind of sound like a German screamo band sometimes, if you don't know what the music sounds like. But yeah, you can go to adrianhardkor.com or my full name, and I'm kind of going. Depends on who I am that day. Sometimes I go by Adrian Hardkor, and sometimes I'm going by my full name, Adrian Kragowski. But both websites point to the same place, and the records are all the same guy, so it's.
If you do the gigs in Pittsburgh, you'll have no problem with people pronouncing your last name in Pittsburgh.
That's true.
That's true, and Bloomfield Bridge Tavern's got some great pierogi.
Yeah,
Is
so
that a
we'll
plural?
dedicate.
Pierogi is a plural?
Pierogi is the plural of.
Really?
It's
A
not
pierogi?
pierogi. You can't be.
But there's no S on the end.
Pierogies.
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 Okay.
Pierogi.
Pierogies.
Pierogies.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to have some pierogies.
Pierogies.
We're gonna make
Maybe
some
that's the
pierogies.
difference between Pittsburgh pierogi and Wisconsin pierogi.
No, I think it's the same pierogi.
It's the same?
It's probably the same. All right, we're gonna play some music.
And we're going to dedicate it to pierogies.
Alright. This is not a song about pierogies, but it'll have to do. We'll do Highway 81. This is this is a song that we wrote closer to Fairfax. It's down. We just finished a tour down in Tennessee and did the Bluebird, as we were talking about, and so we were down in Roanoke on Highway 81, and
Acoustic Coffee House?
That's Acoustic Coffee House. I'm wearing an Acoustic Coffee House t-shirt for those on the radio. That's a great place. Jim Belushi runs a heck of a place down in Johnson City, and so that's always fun.
If you time it right, you get the bonfire too.
And if you time it right, the bonfire in the backyard is phenomenal down there too. But
Cool.
this is a song we wrote on the way down there. So I wrote on the way down there. All right. Lightning around me, lightning ahead. Better off dead to tell me, beware. It's a long road through Virginia if you take it from me. And East Tennessee. In my darkest hour, I saw the lightning from ahead. Distance from behind, fading on mine. If you save me from myself, that I could save you from me too. So save me from something wild, something blue. Listen as the rain falls like religion in a small town. It's like the vision we're searching for an old ghost out to hang around. But if you save me from myself, I can save you from me too. So save me from something wild, something blue.
Nice.
Thank you.
I like your stuff. I didn't get
Thanks,
a chance to
man.
listen to a lot. Like,
Well,
Goes
these are-
Yeah, it was the last
stuff.
minute booking, but
And, you know, I hit like play all on CD Baby
Yeah.
and just.
Well, and these aren't on there. These are-
yeah,
Oh,
a
no,
there's a
handful
lot
of these that we're
music, too.
playing today are the brand new songs. So.
That would, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that works out too. Yeah, there is some difference between the last record and the new one. I think I'm still last record. I was still exploring different musical sounds and tastes, and even probably some genres.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a little bit more scattered. I mean, granted, if you like random song, you know, like a lot of different stuff on the same record, you'll probably like it because there's some rock and roll tunes, and then there's some really soft ones, and then there's something that's probably even considered bluegrass on it. But this next record's probably going to be a little bit more genre specific.
Mm.
We'll be probably doing it down in Nashville, so it's going to probably have some twang to it all along the board, and everything starts sounding a little bit more like
Yeah.
the same person is singing it.
Yeah, I totally understand.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I understand where you're coming from because you know, I'm a songwriter too, and
Yeah.
I've yeah, exactly. It's like trying to pick tunes for a record, and that's
Picking tunes for the record is important. I mean, like, that's just the pre-production, everything that goes into the overall thought of what you're going to release, and you kind of really almost have to have it all planned out before you start.
yeah.
I mean,
It's interesting how that's all kind of changing now, where I see. I still think that the album, the idea of everything on the record is kind of tied in, together. The kind of songs fit together. They have I still believe in that, even though iTunes and all these other things are.
It's all single based.
Yeah, it's gearing us more towards like going back to the singles based stuff of the 70s and 60s kind of thing, but
there are still some great examples of bands coming out with, like Green Day has been doing a fantastic job coming out with really cohesive
singles?
storytelling albums. Like
Oh, yeah,
entire
yeah.
Oh, on
albums,
the entire
it's
album.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
still there.
Yeah.
Some of the best records, I still think some of the best records that get released are the ones that have a holistic view and everything sounds like there's not filler songs on it,
Does
and
that have
everything
intent?
really had, intent. The intent was there from the beginning.
Like Neil Young's Harvest, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that whole record is like, it's a record.
It's a
And
record.
And
It's a total
it
record.
does sound like it was all recorded in the same
Same place,
place
same
and the
person,
same group of people, and
Yep.
everybody showed up and they made a piece of art.
Or Mumford and Sons.
Yeah, that
And
is
Mumford and
oh,
Sons,
that's my
totally.
new.
It's an amazing album.
That's
yeah.
my new like.
Or back to Ray LaMontagne. I mean, everything on that Ray LaMontagne album starts sounding similar after the whole scope of the project
Package, yeah.
has a sound. He went for a sound, and that was what
Nailed it.
happened.
I came away from that. I'm like, did he break up with his wife or something? After I listened,
There's
to
some
it.
really sad stuff.
I'm like, there is some sad songs on there. I'm like, oh my god, they broke up. I'm like, ooh, I'm like ready to go to the website. I'm like,
what happened?
It's like, is he getting divorced? I'm like, oh man, it's like you listen to some of this stuff, it's just like rip your heart out.
Yeah, he knows how to rip people. He's kind of Ray LaMontagne's kind of known for ripping people's hearts out, isn't he?
One
He's
string at a time, yeah.
Yeah, one string at a time, yeah. Well done.
He touches on all that stuff. So you moved down to the DC area, and you said that kind of started getting into
the music
playing out.
thing. Yeah. Well, it started with an open mic. It started, and this is, I guess, my time to really push the open mic. There's an open mic based out of the basement of the Politics and Prose bookstore in DC, which is a really famous DC bookstore.
What section of town is that in?
It's Connecticut Avenue, like 5,000 block Connecticut Avenue, so it's
Just north of Van
almost
Ness.
Maryland.
It's just
It's
north of Van Ness.
Van
about a
Ness,
mile.
yeah.
Bethesda? No.
Inside DC.
East of Bethesda.
Oh, okay.
They have a
Military
lot
Road.
of, like, Al Gore has spoke at the bookstore. Like, they have
Oh, wow.
big name people
Been
come
there
through
since,
and
the 60s, I think.
yeah, and it's been around forever, and it's kind of known as a really big time bookstore. But they just started running a coffee shop in the last couple of years in the basement, run by these guys in like their late 20s, early 30s, and just really wanted to harvest the local music scene and music art scene too. They have art, they have local arts on the walls down at the coffee shop and stuff. But every Friday night there's an open mic that runs, and it's been there since the first Friday that I could remember when I moved to DC.
What year was that?
2006, the
Yeah.
end of 2006 now. I've met almost everybody I've known musically in DC through that open mic.
Mhm.
I've met every roommate that I've had in DC
Wow.
through that open mic. Yeah.
I have to come down there.
Yeah, you are. You're going to have to come down here. It's really
Amazing.
great. It's run by a lovely woman, Maureen Nelson. She runs her own band called Echo Armada. But they...
Marie Nelson.
Maureen Nelson.
Marie Nelson.
And she's been very plugged into the DC thing for a long time too, and so you might even know the name, but now we're starting to we just did this first annual holiday show where we had like 30 bands
No.
on
13.
13 bands,
Yeah.
13 bands on stage
It's like
in
a
one
karaoke
night.
or-
Yeah, each person did like 2 or 3 songs, but it was just a complete rotating cast of
Everybody
craziness
played on
all
everybody's
night.
sets. There was
Everybody-
a huge
yeah.
amount of collaboration. It was
So
Oh, that's
it's been a
Yeah.
building process of this open mic, and now a lot of the bands that met at this open mic are now full-time touring.
It's like
and
nurturing and graduating musicians.
graduating
basically.
musicians. Yeah, so it's
That's
really
We've all grown up
it's
together.
cool.
Mhm.
And I can't remember what the original question was
Yeah.
anymore, but
Well, that's good.
What started you?
Yeah, well,
basically-
when you were down there and you got into playing, that's kind of what I was getting to. So there had to be a home base, and then
yeah,
I know when I was there in the late '80s, early '90s, and you know they had the open mic things. There was one every night, everywhere, somewhere.
Every night,
and
every
you
night of the
could
week.
play every night somewhere. That's what I knew about TT Reynolds. 'Cause
Oh, okay,
you know,
sure.
they had
yeah.
one, and
Yep,
there was
they
one
did.
in Alexandria. I remember.
There was
Remember the
King Street 219. There was where is that?
the main drag in Alexandria
King Street.
on King Street. I used
Yeah.
to go to, and
There's a bunch of there's bluegrass places, and then the Tiffany Tavern, and there's like
That's it.
Tiffany
Oh, yeah.
Tavern.
yeah,
It's a
Tiffany
great
Tavern's
place.
still around,
That's-
and they
that-
still run the open mic there.
and that
all the time.
That's a fantastic.
that's where Mary Chapin Carpenter actually used to
Yes.
run the open mic night there.
Oh wow.
And then
Yes.
somebody took it over, but I think she used to run it, or she played at it.
No
But that's where
kidding.
she got started
if
out
I-
of there.
Yeah, I there's probably some old connections to that too. I
I seem to remember
through
that.
friends, but
Yeah.
yeah, I know Mary Chapin Carpenter was very much plugged into the DC thing for a long time. I'm learning the history of
She's
DC
from there.
music because I've only been there for 5 years, and I'm post Fugazi. I really didn't know Fugazi until I moved there.
Yeah.
I know I'm not supposed to say this actually on air, but yeah. I didn't know who Fugazi was before I moved to DC, and so I'm learning about all these things about DC.
I
you
can't
know?
believe you just took me back in time.
Your brain
because-
just melted.
No, because I know, really, 20 years ago, remember somebody saying, you have to listen to Fugazi,
Fugazi.
and putting it into the
Putting it in
CD
a cassette
player.
player,
Or
yeah.
actually cassette.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Cassette
cassette
tape at that
time.
point, probably.
And,
yeah.
and it was the friends of my, friends of friends had put it on, and I wasn't really into the loud, hard punk thing, but it was like, there it was.
There was.
Mhm.
There was. And the
Yep.
DC punk house is definitely, I mean, now I go back and I read all the Wikipedias and all that kind of stuff, and I relearn about all the DC movement. And it's interesting because I think that there is still history left over that musicians out of DC still now incorporate into what they're doing now. I think DC has a good sense of musical history. I think the musicians that are coming out of there now respect what happened and what's been going on there.
Well, the
over last-
whammies, that's like
the
that's
whammies,
something
exactly.
that,
exactly.
would be helpful to any city to have that. And Eddie from Ohio, I know they're from there.
Eddie Harkness is one of the nicest guys. He's
Yeah.
such a nice guy too. He runs. I don't know how much he does anymore, but he used to run sound at one of the clubs I play at on a regular basis called Iota Club and Cafe.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's totally plugged into the music scene still. I
Yeah.
mean, has done the touring thing, but still definitely very much a part of the community.
A couple weeks ago, we had Amy here in the studio.
yeah.
So
Heather Lloyd is my girl. We love. She comes to the open mic that we're talking about.
Heather?
She's
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
She's a part of that. That's
Cool.
extended family. As we
Extended
call
Cool,
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good show too.
Yeah,
I
so
Oh,
really
they're
they're
great. They are great.
So my question really was like how get plugged in, but I'd love to talk a little bit more about that. You want to play something else for us?
Sure. I'm gonna play a brand new tune. This is, I didn't write it in the parking lot before I got here or anything, but I wrote it recently. It's called Elbow Grease, and I think it's gonna be on the next record. So there you go.
Next year.
Last time I did the cross cruise line with the boys in the 82nd outfit. Captain of the ship was kind of a dick and wanted nothing to do with it. So we sailed along the eastern seaboard looking for a big new world. Found 3-foot seas, a salty breeze, yeah, the only car left on the road. So now I'm heading down the Gulf Coast, looking for the source of the pain. Well, she's just standing on the river on the boat in the rain. Ain't crazy, no, it's crazy now. All they need is a shove. Yeah, 'cause sometimes all you need is a little help, peace and love. Here I'm standing on the corner on my boat in the rain. Crazy knows, crazy now. All I need is a show. Yeah, sometimes all you need is a little oil but grease. Yeah, sometimes all you need is a little oil but grease and love. Yeah, sometimes all you need is that oil, grease, and love.
Yes. That's a new song?
That's a brand new one.
Brand
Brand new, like third verse hasn't been written yet. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I like it as it's going. It's something I'm starting to play out now for a very new. For the audience members, so
You've gotten some good reception.
yeah, we're getting good reception on
Good.
that one, so
Yeah.
I think it's a keeper.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge that, you know, when you write songs and trying to figure out whether or not is that a keeper or and as time has gone by, I've kind of just like they're all keepers, you know,
They're all
in some
keepers.
way or another.
They all are keepers, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like I think when I filtered stuff when I was younger. It's like, oh, you know, I can't.
You can't
That's-
play that. I can't do this. This isn't ready. This isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just part of the growing process as an artist. That you know you think because I think all artists are insecure in some
Yeah.
way. You know.
Oh,
You
yeah.
want to put together a perfect product, but
Yeah.
if it's not a
Always.
keeper now, it could always find its home later. You know, with something else that you come up with
We're
years down the road.
we're probably our own.
Always.
Worst critic and all
Yeah,
that.
worst
Oh
critic.
yeah.
You know, we're constant and.
I'm really good at that.
It's funny. I don't. I didn't think it was the case, but as I do this more and as we play more, I would expect it, and it does happen less. But I would expect it to completely leave, like just the insecurity about how you play it or how you thought everything was starting to really piece together, and I know audience members come up to you after the show and they're like, hey, you played really well. And sometimes in the back of your mind you're still like, man, there's so many things that I could have done differently. But
Or there was that one chord change that I missed, or that lyric that I did, and you know nobody really knows. I mean, it's
nobody
like
nobody does.
Yeah.
Well, I think the more secure you are, you know, the more you can let go of that, just the more risks you're willing to take, and the audience always
Yeah.
feels that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you pour yourself in because you say, you know what, I'm secure in what I can do, and
That's
we'll see
Yeah.
what comes out. You know, but people appreciate that emotion.
Yeah.
Especially when you do the open mic thing too, because
Yeah.
it's like you have a group
Yeah.
of people in the room and they're all other musicians, and you know there's that cheering thing for like, hey, great, you know, and
Yeah.
but it's like when you get in front of like a crowd, like I'm looking over your list of places, you must have just picked. You wanted to play all the best rooms, or something. Huh?
Well,
Like-
yeah, those are the highlights. You know, on the bio it says a couple of the really good ones. Club Passim's in Boston is a phenomenal room. Bluebird Cafe in the basement are phenomenal rooms in Nashville. And, yeah, I mean, over the years of doing this, you really find yourself at the top of your game, and you find
You want to go,
yourself.
yeah, you specifically like I got to get in there.
And yeah, and you know, in a couple of them, it really is nice when they start asking you to. But it's nice to really be able to build a resume over, and you find out, you know, over a couple of years, you're like, oh no, I've done all these things.
See how far
like
you've come.
this is actually me. I have done all of the things I said I've done, and just forget that you've done them, or you know, they've all happened along the way, and it's just part of the story, really.
Mhm.
You know, it's the resume builder, and it's the bullets on the list, but it's you know, I mean, it's just as much fun to sit in the car sometimes and discuss music with the bandmates too. And there's so many parts of touring that are great, not just the rooms.
But when you get to these rooms and people don't know who you are, as opposed to you're going to the same open mic all the time, you see the
Yeah.
same people, and you kind of, you know, this
Totally
idea
different thing.
exchange, and then all of a sudden you're playing in front of all these folks that don't know you, and that, or maybe you know, fans, friends, you know, it's a different that then you really find
See it
out,
differently.
you know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh,
Can I do this on a global
Yeah.
level?
is
or
it
a
really,
national level?
or and that is it really, is it going to stand on its own in
Yeah.
front of a complete stranger.
Are they supporting me because they support what I do for me personally, or because
They want to
this
Because
is
they
some
like
really
the
good
song.
stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's, I mean, and
Traveling is so good for that.
traveling is great for that. Touring is I encourage getting out of your space, your comfort zone with your music, you know, and really try to see what
It's
people
the
that
biggest
don't know
reality
who
check
you
you
are.
can get.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, it wasn't sunshine and rainbows from the very beginning. Too, you learn what you need in your car. You learn what kind of people you want to play to. You learn what kind of hotels you want to stay. You learn all of that. You know, it happens along the
The right
way.
way and the wrong way.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, that's what.
So you're Mitch, you're playing Bluebird in August.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to plug nice.
Oh no, that's right. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the first time that you've played there as well? Fourth? You
No,
said
third. Yeah.
Third. Oh,
Yeah.
so you played there. Okay, so you do another.
So it's good.
Yeah.
You have to do the Fido's breakfast and. You know,
Yeah.
Speaking of
There's
places.
a chicken.
to
Supposedly there's a great fried chicken place in Nashville that we never have made it to
What
when
was
we
it?
get through
It
it.
was-
Churches.
Churches.
No, but there was
Huh?
another one.
There's more than one, but Churches.
Churches
is, one
is
of
a
them.
chain, but this is one in Nashville specifically that people.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like hot something.
We could talk offline about that.
Yeah.
I could clear you
Whatever.
because I've got a couple of local friends down there, so
Sure.
you know, and
Yeah.
you know, lovely that they put me up, you know, when I go down there. It's like it's hey man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great, and I love the whole vibe, you know. Just,
Family all over the country eventually, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
There
just
you
thought I could move there. You know, Nashville is a great
Great
place.
town.
Yeah.
It just it's
Yeah, I've
very
thought that too.
yeah, it has a nice like really creative
friendly.
vibe to it. You know?
So friendly.
Yeah,
So
but
friendly.
but if you have kids, you don't want it like all the people to know like you're a musician because like that's a thing. I guess if you have a daughter especially, yeah, like your dad's a musician. Oh, I don't want to date you.
Oh,
That's
they
rough.
know those stories. They know what's worth it and what's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
The whole town is so full of musicians. And you're like,
Oh.
Can't escape it. At
Yeah.
that point, you can't escape it.
yeah.
You're one of the tribe.
So we have a little bit of time that we're gonna have to
Time.
chat out of here. If you want to play
Sure.
one more song for us,
We'll do one more song, yeah.
And thank you very much for coming in. It's late notice, and I'm glad you were in town. You know, that's great.
Yeah, no, it's like we were saying, it was a last minute thing. We love to be back in Pittsburgh. I mean, Alyssa's been here for a while, and
Second home.
as long as you don't get lost in this area, Pittsburgh's
Mhm.
a beautiful city to visit and play, and the crowd's always really well. We're playing Indianapolis tonight. I don't know why we did it, but we're driving 6 hours after this to drive to Bloomington, Indiana to play a show tonight.
Okay.
So we
Anybody-
figured from DC that was a good stopping point.
Yeah.
Just kind of plan a tour around, and so we picked this up this week, and we're really glad to. Thanks for having us.
Well, where are you playing in Bloomington?
We're playing at a place called Bear's Place.
Bear's Place in Bloomington. Okay.
I think-
If anybody's listening out there.
Yeah, in
Indiana.
Bloomington. I think once upon a time it was called Melody Inn, but I think now it's called Bear's Place. So
Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Well, Thanks
Yeah.
for tuning in, everybody. And in case you joined us late, we're Acoustic Songs Live from WNJR at 91.7 FM and streaming at WNJR.org. We're taking a break next week, spring break for my kids, so I'm taking Friday off. And we'll be back. The following Friday is Earth Day, so we're going to have a special Earth Day show. 2/3 Go are coming in to play again, and I think we're going to have one or two other artists. So anyway, thank you very much again, Adrian and Alyssa.
Thanks for having me.
It's been great.
Yeah.
been
No.
fun.
we
What are you going to play for
appreciate
us
it.
now?
I think we're gonna play this song that we've started to play on the road now, called "Vita Milano." I didn't write it. This is a song that was written by a guy out of Richmond, Virginia, so just a little down the road. Tim Barry out of Richmond, and so we're gonna play his song if that's all right with you guys.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. All right. Thanks again.
Okay.
Let that lonely feeling go. Let that lonely feeling go. Let that lonely feeling go. Just a day. There ain't no roads you pave with gold. There ain't no roads you pave with gold. There ain't no roads you pave with gold. Anyway, just keep on holding on. Keep looking till you're done. Selling down's a waste of time. Keep your pace. Cause when you sleep at night alone, when you sleep at night alone, under the stars you're feeling old, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. You feel like life's too long. Its cadences are on. Just keep your step in time. Change your way. Can't make everything right now. This sense of slowing down. When you leave this world alone, what will you take? What you seek ain't free, steal it. If it ain't necessity, you don't need it. Just leave what's left. Who comes next? Yeah, I said I am. Give you everything I got. You need it. Going west, come with me. Just stay the same.